Hi, Taurus, Sun and Rising. Welcome to your January 2022 Astro Update. It's Raina here. Ooh, so we're into a new year. And as the month begins, the Sun is in Capricorn, which is a fellow Earth sign. So whenever that happens, when you have a sun sign, and obviously there are going to be inner planets that are also in that sign, you're going to have a trine, and that is very favorable because things just seem to come to you a lot easier during such times. And we actually have a new moon right after the first of the year on the 2nd at 12 degrees of Capricorn. This particular earth sign, Capricorn, is in the house that is ruled by Sag, which is the 9th house, and therefore it is a very optimistic area. It's a very expansive area. And you can even say that because Jupiter rules it, that there is an element of luck. I always thought that that was supposed to be the luckiest house, and then they told me the 11th house is that, and I'm like, oh man. But anyway, it is very philosophical and very expansive, and so a new moon in this area can mean many different things. If you have been wanting to travel far away, this might be the springboard for that. Right after the new year, you get this green light. And this is also the area of higher education. So you might be enrolling in college, or even some kind of spiritual, like yoga training, maybe combining travel with yoga training, doing that training somewhere far away, preferably close to a beach, something very nice. Let's see. So, on the very same day that we have the new moon in Capricorn, Mercury goes into Aquarius. Now, that's another fixed sign. That's your 10th house of career. So, Mercury can be talking to people who have authority. And that can include, it could include employers because this is a career sector, but anyone who has like somebody in the industry that you are working in or you want to work in. Maybe you're getting some recommendations. Really, the interesting thing about this is that with the new moon being in the 9th house, this could in fact be a new philosophy. Like, it's almost like we talk about the new year as turning over a new leaf. For you specifically, Taurus, this could be turning over a new leaf in how you view life. And because this is about philosophy. For some Taurians who have been more of the hedonists out there, you might be turning more to the spiritual and less to the pleasures of the flesh. For some of you, this is about breaking out of the ruts that you have been in. And of course, as I've been saying in the past, having Uranus transiting Taurus can certainly bring that about. And I really believe that this can include, with the Uranian influence on Taurus, interest in intuitive areas, or maybe even some kind of an awakening, like a Kundalini experience, that it almost like a spontaneous thing that happens, and it becomes, because Taurus likes things that are tangible, and so this idea of reading about something is not as appealing to you as experiencing it. So experiential. It's funny, when I said Kundalini, the recording was at 444. So that's pretty dang cool, if you ask me. So with Mercury going into 10th house on the same day, I can't help but wonder if there's some connection there, and if maybe you're going to be rethinking this thing, because, now that I think about it, this is where the Mercury retrograde occurs. So on the 14th of the month, Mercury goes retrograde at 10 degrees of Aquarius. So another thing about the 9th house is it can be publishing. So if you're a Taurus person who's always wanted to write, maybe you had another career in mind and you are rethinking, you're thinking about what it is that you want to do. So anything, and that's just an example, because I was just thinking about the new moon can give new opportunities in that area. Also teaching at the college level. And this is going to be something that, carries on for the next few weeks until early February when Mercury goes direct. So matters concerning career. Also, if you are looking for work and you have been interviewing, you might not hear back from them as soon as you had hoped, but don't just assume that you didn't get the job. And any kind of communication with higher ups is subject to some kind of misunderstanding. So be as clear and concise when you're dealing with people like that. Also, there was something else I wanted to say about that, and I can't think of what it is. Oh, well. On the 17th, there's a full moon at 27 degrees of Cancer. For Taurus, this is a friendly angle. And this is the sextile. And this is in that third house. So this is in the opposite house as the 9th house. And when you have houses that oppose each other, signs that oppose each other, they're called complementary signs. And there is going to be some similarities, also differences, but they're in the same area. So the 3rd and 9th area houses are both mental houses, and they can both deal with teaching and learning, but the 3rd house is more mundane knowledge. The 9th house is more abstract information, or you could even say wisdom. In the 3rd house, it can be some kind of practical training. Or if you're a teacher, rather than teaching at the university, that, would be the 9th house, this could be teaching at a grade school level or something like that. So full moon in Cancer here on the 17th could be finishing up some kind of a training program. It can be if you have worked at the elementary school level and now you're going to take, you're going to work at community college or university. It can be, anything to do with like an aha moment. A full moon can bring realizations, and the 3rd house is your mind. So that can lead to intuitive understanding about something that is going on. Also, the 3rd house is your local area, your neighbors. And with the full moon here, it could be like resolving something with that area of life. So what I could see with the new moon in the ninth house is some of you may be relocating and you may be moving far away, maybe even to another country. And you're kind of winding down the area that you live, you're not, your local area, and, closure with that. On the 18th, which is the next day, Uranus goes direct at 10 degrees of Taurus. So Uranus in your sign going direct. This can be especially good if you have felt that your life has been a bit haywire. Now, I can't promise you that Uranus direct is going to be totally predictable, because that's not what Uranus is about. It's not about being predictable. But when it's retrograding, what it represents can be even more so. So with Uranus, with Uranian energy, there is a lot of erratic tendencies. It's unpredictable. And there's rebellion. But sometimes rebellion is done so just in a haywire way. It's not, you've heard the expression, or there was a movie called Rebel Without a Cause. Sometimes the rebel does have a cause. And there's such a wonderful side to Uranus, which has to do with innovation, being ahead of its time. So kind of like futuristic, unique, not being derivative. And it's funny, I was thinking about like when I was a kid, and I have the moon in conjunction with Uranus. The moon can be creative, and I was always a creative kid. I've always been a creative person. And, like when the teacher would ask you to draw a picture or whatever, especially like drawing, because when you're in the very young ages, you're not really writing that much. You're mostly drawing. And I remember like taking my arm and like kind of shielding my paper, because people, would look at your paper and try to, what do they call that? Copy. And it's like you say, don't copy me. And that was like a thing that was really, I considered like a great affront, is like anybody trying to copy me. And that's kind of like a thing that happens when people don't have creativity and they're looking to other people. They're just completely blank, drawing a blank. They have no ability to think for themselves. Well, this is, that innovation and unique quality is something that Taurus should definitely cultivate, because a lot of you will be creative people, and you may be talented in some kind of artistic way, where you might draw a blank though, because Taurus sometimes is very conventional, and Uranus is very unconventional. And I think that it is a wonderful combination, because it can give you like ideas that nobody else will have. So in other words, this Uranus direct can make the most of Uranus. So that's happening. And on the 19th, the sun goes into Aquarius. So the sun is in that 10th house of career. So you really are starting to have a lot of career mojo. Now, of course, Mercury is retrograde. Oh, what I was going to say about Mercury retrograde is they always say don't start a new project during Mercury retrograde. I think that, you can always start something. That doesn't mean you have to bring it out into the public, that kind of thing. That's the ultimate. Um, on the 24th, Mars goes into Capricorn. And it's important to note, I think I might have alluded to it at the beginning, that Venus is retrograde in Capricorn. Did I mention that? I might not have. And that's your ruler. So you have your ruler all month long retrograding in this ninth house. And that, that almost makes me wonder if you have a lover from a foreign country who's coming back into your life. And so anytime Venus is retrograde, it can bring, regardless of what house it's in, it can bring an ex into your life. And I might do like a separate Venus retrograde video. That might be kind of fun. I think I might do that. But yeah, so just watch out for that. But Mars is going into Capricorn. So now you have this crowded ninth house. I mean, really crowded because Pluto's there too. It's like, yikes. This ninth house is really packed with stuff going on. So it really favors long distance travel. Because, just with the way the world has been, there have been a lot of postponements for people's trips for various reasons, and, shutdowns, and then green lights, but then other things happening. So Mars in the ninth house can make you much more adventurous, and you want to do this, whatever this thing is. And even if it's like, moving there, you feel like you're game. Mars has an aggressive quality to it. I will say that if you are planning on traveling somewhere, I feel like with Venus retrograding here and Mars here, there may be like some kind of a romantic reason for it. There can also be, I feel like, something that has to do with art, because of Venus, but it's something that, if you had already been to this one place and you didn't get the chance to visit the museums, and you really, like maybe you had gone to Paris and you vowed to come back, but you said, but this time I'm going to go and see, such and such work, that's perfect for Venus retrograde. Also with Mars, I think that there's a very strong desire to do things like on foot, where you're just like a nomad, a physicality to it, rather than just being taken everywhere by vehicle. It's kind of like being on the ground, having that hands-on experience rather than, being kind of detached from the situation. On the 25th, Mercury goes, oh my gosh. So Mercury goes into Capricorn. How many planets do you have in that ninth house? This is wild, man, wild. Now, remember that Mercury is retrograding too, so it has dipped back into Capricorn. And so that's in the ninth house too. So I will say that if you are planning on traveling, that's another thing that I think might be kind of tricky during a Mercury retrograde is travel. So, but sometimes people, either they have a they've already bought their ticket and they didn't know, or they have to do it. It's urgent that they take a trip. I wouldn't want you to be superstitious. This just may mean that you have to get your passport together or something like that, and there might have been some kind of snafu. Either you didn't realize that you forgot to put something down on the form, or I don't know, something along those lines. On the 29th, Venus goes direct at 11 degrees of Capricorn. So Venus will start to resolve itself, but Venus won't come out of its shadow until early March. So that's a long time for Venus to still be in its shadow. So when it's in its shadow, it can still act in a similar vein as the retrograde. However, it gets stronger all the time during that period. And there may be something, the fact that it was retrograding in your 9th house, if it isn't something to do with a long distance love, it could also be your values as it connects to your spiritual beliefs, or even money matters as it connects to that. Because when you want to go into, if you want to go into the healing arts, but as it pertains to spiritual practices, not just, I'm talking about being a physical therapist, but something more spiritual, there is that, I don't know what you'd call it, sometimes there can be like a little bit of a dilemma, which I know I had, about making money off of a spiritual thing. And I have Taurus rising, and I have a lot of earth in my chart, so you would think that maybe I wouldn't have those issues, but I have the sun in Sagittarius, so I am naturally philosophical, and I was kind of torn about whether it was even okay. And that might be something that you are grappling with. So, like I said, Mercury is going to go direct in early February, so you will resolve this not too long after Venus goes direct at, almost at the end of the month. So just keep that in mind. Okay, that's what I have for you, Taurus. I hope that this resonated. If you would like a personal reading, the link is below. Take care. Bye.